All right, let's get started with this webinar. Just to introduce myself, I'm Emily Kuo. I've been working on the custom content tool. And if you've got any questions, I'll be the one who's helping out, responding to feedback, adding more features as time goes on. So to get started, you'll see that I'm on my teacher page. And on the left side on this left sidebar with the teacher, you have access to the custom content tool. There'll be an option for custom content. So from there, let's click on that. So I've gone ahead and created a course already, but you can see creating a course is pretty simple. You can just type in the box and click enter or create course, and you've got another course. So to edit your course, all you have to do is click on the edit button. So by default, when you create a course, our courses are broken down into courses and modules within those courses, and then each module has a set of lessons. So by default, we create one module for you, and then if you go into that module, you'll see that we've already created one lesson for you. I've gone ahead and created a bunch of just test items here, just so you can see that we have a lesson and then a bunch of items inside of it. So to start off with, to create an item to add to your lesson or your new module, just type in the name and click enter. You'll be given 3 options. You'll be given 3 options, item type, programming language, and program type. You won't need all 3 options for every single type, but if you are creating a problem with code, you will need all 3 types. You'll see that if I click on, say, a video, it'll take out the options for program type and programming language. Same for notes and quizzes. But if we want to create an example, it brings back the programming language and the program type to choose from. So to start off with, let's create a simple Carol example. So we've chosen JavaScript and then chosen a Carol program type. Then we create. So for right now, we have no code in this. This is just a basic Carol item with a default world. And we can view the item, just a preview of it. You'll see that there is no code to start with. So we just have a blank item. We have no solution world and just a default world. And this is what it starts with. So why don't we go ahead and create an example of Carol putting down a ball. So you have move, ball. So when you're editing code in the custom content tool, it won't save automatically, but it'll show you a button whenever you've made changes. So as you see in the editor right above it, there's a save code button. Make sure you click on that after you've edited code, otherwise you'll lose your changes. So you see when I click it, it disappears, and then if I make another edit, it'll come back. So that way you know when you've edited code and when you need to save it again. So now that we've got starter code, we can view the item again. And our code has been populated into the editor, and we can run it. Now, if we wanted to change the Carol worlds, this is the same as in sandboxes, but you can click on the Edit Carol Worlds button below and it'll bring you to the Carol Worlds editor. One thing to note is that you can still add custom worlds to test out an item without anyone seeing those worlds. So if we create a world to start with, you'll notice if we go back to worlds that it's in custom worlds, and this will not show up in our example. To make this show up public to your students so that others can see it, you need to make sure you publish the item. So let's just make a different world. Publish it. And then we view the item again. And you'll notice now that there's another world in here that we've just created. which is a 5x5 Carol world. So with examples and challenges and exercises, this is the same format that you will be doing for each item. As you can see, if I click on my sample exercise, there's also an option to add a description, which is what students will see in the pop-up modal when they first get to that problem. To just briefly go over the other types of problems, we have a notes type where you can just type in plain text, or we use Markdown for our descriptions. You can add code blocks. Let's see, this is a inline code block, or you can do that doesn't work. There we go. You have an actual code block. And these are things you can just write out that you think students should know, and it's just plain text. And when you save the description and view the item, so this is what a note will look like. Let's go to a video. You can record your own videos and add them to the course also. We give the option of adding both a YouTube and a Vimeo ID. And if you upload your slides to Google Drive, you can add a link to it in the item also, and that will be linked to when they view the item, and they can just click the slides button to go along with it. So this is a resource type item. This is similar to notes, except that it uses an outside source from like Google Drive. You can just put in a Drive document that you might have created previously already, and you can just add the link to it into here, and you will get that doc as an iframe inside of your course as one of your items. Another type of problem that we have is free response, and this will just give a prompt. Say it right. And when we view the free response type, the modal will show your description, and then they have an editor that they can add their response to. And then a big one is quizzes. So quizzes, you'll be given the option to add multiple questions to a quiz. You can add as many answers as you want to a quiz. So say we wanted to add a new question. We just click Add New Question. Question 2 will be the text for the question. And then once we go into answer choices, you'll have the option to add a new answer choice. So the answer text is what will be shown as the choices. And then the message displayed upon answer will be the answer, or will be the text that is shown to the student after they've answered the question, depending on which answer they choose. If we add a few answers, we can mark the correct answer. They default to incorrect to start with, but to mark your correct answer, just click the answer that you want to be correct, and it will toggle that one to correct. If we change our mind and decide a different answer is correct, we can just click that, and it'll toggle that to correct, and then the previous correct answer will be toggled to incorrect. So now that we've got our answer choices, you'll notice that when you make changes to a quiz question, there'll be a button that shows up at the top called Save Question. Make sure you click Save Question, otherwise you'll lose your changes to that question that you've just made. So now that we've saved our changes, let's go view the item. So now you see that this is the second question is the sample question that I've created. And you'll notice if I click on correct answer, the text that I'd entered into the second box is what's displayed underneath the question. So that text will show depending on which answer you select. So now that I've gone over how to create the different types of items, a nice feature of the custom content tool is that you can actually enroll various classes into your courses, and you don't need to enroll all your classes into a specific course. So you can create one course for each class that you have. So if you click on, there's a couple of spots where you can click on it, either by going to, let's open up the starting page. You'll notice on the starting page, there's a button called Manage Classes. And also when you're in the editor, there's a Manage Classes page. Once you click on that, you'll get a pop-up showing your list of classes and their enrollment status. You'll notice that the button is not filled in if they're not enrolled. Once you enroll a class, so if we click on Enroll for Class 1, fills in, and it then gives you the option to unenroll that class. And you can do this at any time. Let's see. That should cover the basics of the custom content tool. If you want to, the shortcut for reaching the custom content tool, if you don't want to navigate to the teacher page, is just doing codehs.com/custom content, one word. We've also created a Google Doc that gives you a how-to guide and goes over a lot of the same things I've talked about in this webinar. That will be linked at codehs.com/custom content guide, also one word. If you have any questions, I can answer them if you add them to the Q&A app. If you click on the Q&A app on the left sidebar of this webinar, you can ask questions. And I'll leave the rest of the time open for questions if anyone has them. Oh, okay, so going over the answers. So we have the trash can next to lesson says won't delete item. And so we want to know, where does that go? So we'll keep the lesson in the database, but you won't have access to that question or that item anymore. I think a feature we'll want to add later is just being able to access those items that you've created, that you've authored for yourself, so that you can access them in different modules or different courses. At the moment, if you delete one, you just won't have access to it anymore. And then a good question, what's the difference between exercise and challenge? So exercise and challenge are actually the same types of problems. We've just differentiated them by saying if you create a challenge problem, it's probably going to be harder than an exercise problem, but the way to create them is exactly the same. And then, will we have the ability to collaborate with others in the custom content creator? So we are in the process of adding that capability. That's something we definitely want, and we know that teachers will want to be able to share courses with other teachers and just be able to work on the same course together. At the moment, it's not available, but that's something we're working on at the moment. That seems to be all the questions I have for now. I'll wait around for a little longer. If anyone has any more questions, I will answer them. So the question was, if I create something in the teacher sandbox and add it to course, will it go to my custom content? So the Sandbox custom course tool was a beta version, and this custom content tool is taking over that beta version. Your course is still available in the custom content tool. So anything you add from your sandbox, you'll be able to see in your custom content tool. Obviously, what I was saying before, being able to add items that you've created before to a different course would be very useful, so that you'd be able to create items in your sandbox and then put them into whichever course you want. So that's something we should definitely, that we'll definitely look into and figure out how that goes into the tool itself. All right, it looks like we're out of time for now. If you have any more questions, definitely Oh. Just one more question to add in. Just going over how to add videos, either the YouTube or the Vimeo videos. To go into specifics, I briefly went over it, but just to go into specifics, each YouTube video has an ID, and each Vimeo video has an ID. So as you'll see on the video page, there are two fields, one for your YouTube ID and one for your Vimeo ID. So once you grab that ID, you can just place it into here. Let's just randomly put some text. Obviously this won't work because it's not a video, but you'll just put the ID into there and it'll try to load it. And if it comes up with the video you're looking for, then you've done it correctly, because it'll give you a preview of it. So hopefully that helps. Otherwise, I think we're running out of time for now. Definitely, if you have more questions, email them in and we will be happy to answer them for you. We'll be constantly responding to feedback and making changes as we go on. So hopefully this webinar was helpful.